Hi, it's Jerry with I Love RV Life. I've got a great project that I'm going to be showing you today. I'm going to kind of show you the end before I get started. I'm getting ready to do this. I am putting a generator in the front of my fifth wheel, but it's portable on a slide-out tray. Wait till you see this. Hi, it's Jerry back in the shop. I've got a fun project that I've been putting off for a year. I needed one of those, they call them round to-its. I'm finally getting around to it. I know it's a bad joke. So what I'm planning on doing is I've got this portable generator that I bought a year ago today. And originally I was just going to put it in the back of the F350. Problem is it's 2 inches, inch and a half, 2 inches too tall for the tonneau cover to be able to go down. And I tried pulling the wheels off. I can't get it to mount in there properly. I'm just not happy with it. So when I redid the battery compartment, I've got all this extra room in the front bay of the Montana. And the Montana was designed to be able to put one of those Onan standalone generators in there. So I've got a lot of space. As a matter of fact, this generator will fit perfectly in there with room to spare. So some may think, well, why don't you just pick the thing up, set it inside there and pull it out when you need it, you know, to hook up to be able to have generator power. And that's a great question. The thing weighs 110 pounds and it's heavy. And especially dead weight heavy, you know, when you're picking it up like that. And the way I have to kind of pick it up and set it inside that bay, I'm going to end up throwing something out. I mean, I'll just go ahead. I know it's going to happen. So I kind of came up with an idea where I'm going to take 1-inch square tubing, heavy gauge 1-inch square tubing. I've got some 500-pound slides. This only weighs 100 pounds, so I've over-engineered this, as Jerry always does. And I'm going to make it where I can slide it out. You know, I'll be able to go up to the bay, pull the unit out, lock it in place. It's going to have slide locks in it. It's going to be way outside of the bay to where I don't have to worry about exhaust fumes and those types of things. And then I can run a plug over to the side. How this will help, this is mainly for summer. It's right now, you know, getting to be mid-February. I'm kind of getting spring and summer put together. So we have to stop somewhere for the night for the summer, even though I've just, you know, I've got all this lithium now and I've got some solar. I still can't run an air conditioner. And if we're traveling in the southeast, which we do a lot, it gets hot. It gets hot, muggy, gooey, and you've got to have an air conditioner. You just have to have air conditioners. So this is going to be really nice in the summer when we're going to be pulling over in the evening, or we're talking about doing some boondocking. We've never done that. So I think we're getting set up for that now, and this generator is going to be key. All right, so you're going to see a lot of stuff that I'm not going to be talking about for a change. I'm going to be showing you shots of the process of me building this. I'll put a link in the ilovervlife.com blog notes where you can get the slides. That's the key to this whole thing, is being able to have that heavy duty slide to where we can, you know, pull that unit out and it be stable. That's going to be very key. And I don't think this is going to be a big deal. It's probably going to take me a day or two to put this together. Just, again, I'm kind of fitting and I've got drawings, but I'm still not 100% sure on this. So we'll take a day or two and we'll get this done. It's going to be a fun project, and I get to get the welder out. I love welding. This is going to be fun. I'm going to start the project by cutting out all the 1-inch square tubing. I'm using an angle grinder here. I found that it's the quickest way to be able to do this, and I can be very accurate and getting the pieces cut to the exact size and length that I want. I'll take these pieces over to the table to where I'll start building the individual frame pieces. This is the section that the generator will actually sit on. Again, it's got to be perfectly square. It can't deviate at all. And it's got to be the perfect length. So I measure. Well, good morning. It's day two. Day two of putting this, I'll just call it the slide out generator frame. How about that for a project? It doesn't take 2 days to do this. I had to stop yesterday. because our grandkids are involved in sports, and we wanted to see our granddaughter play soccer yesterday afternoon. So the school that she plays for won 8-0. Way to go, Jamie Catherine. Good job for all of them. All right, let me show you where I'm at. I've done the 2 most critical pieces. One of the things that has taken more time is I'm kind of designing as I go. I drew all this out, and my drawings never equate to reality. For those of you who do projects, you know exactly where I'm coming from. So I've got the 2 most critical pieces. I'll show these to you. The reason these are the 2 most critical, I've got them just kind of assembled like this, just testing. This is the base frame, this is the slide out tray, and these are my slide outs. And if this isn't perfect, I'm talking about within probably a 1/16 of an inch, these slides, they'll either jam or it puts stress on them, and they just never work right. And it's different working with steel compared to working with wood, because you've got some give and take. If something doesn't fit just right, you can always take a sander and buff off a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. You can trim something. You can't do that with steel, so you're kind of forced into getting it exactly right the first time. So this was my test fit. It's not going to look like this. I still have the pieces to bring up here on the side. That's what I'm going to be making today. I'll finish this today, and I think it's going to work out great. So this whole project, the entire project that I built here is really over-engineered, as I usually do for things for an RV. The tubing is a heavier gauge tubing than it needs to be. The slide outs, the generator weighs, I think, like 105 pounds, 106 pounds. These are big old heavy duty, 500-pound slides. Now, they don't need to be that heavy. The price difference between, say, something that's 150 pounds to 500 pounds is so insignificant. I'd rather have the extra weight. That way, as these come all the way out like this, I don't have to worry about sag. These things will be in there, and I don't have to worry about it. So for a couple extra dollars, why not build some insurance into this? I will do some extra bracing as we get a little further. I'll continue to show you pieces and projects of the process of welding this together, just so you can kind of see how it's going to be assembled. I won't take you into a step by step. It'll be, again, over-engineered mainly for things like shift side to side, shift forward to back, as we have to slam on brakes, or we hit very bad vibration, with a pothole at a bridge, and it's going to have shift like that. Even though I have sumo springs on the camper, sometimes you just can't, avoid some of the bad stuff that's out there. And I don't want to snatch this thing, since it will be up in the air. It's only going to be 9.5 inches off the base. You'll see that once we start doing the pre-assembly. And I'll do a pre-assembly, make sure everything is going to fit before I go to paint. And then we'll let it dry, and then tomorrow we'll get everything put inside. So again, over-engineered is a good thing when you're dealing with all this road vibration and those types of things. So if you're considering a project like this, I just always add a little bit more than what you're going to need. Stronger steel, stronger wood, whatever you're using in your project. A little extra bracing that you normally wouldn't do, say if you were doing this in a home, just because of shift and those types of things. One other comment, I know this is coming. Jerry, you're welding on plywood. Yes, I am. I don't do enough welding projects anymore that I can make the investment on a welding table, and I just don't have the storage in the workshop here to be able to put it. I'd love to have one. What you might not know is all through high school, and when I got out of the Air Force, and while I was going to college at night, I worked in my father-in-law's welding shop. He started out being my girlfriend's dad's welding shop, and later became my father-in-law's welding shop. So I was a welder a long time ago, and still, it's like riding a bike. I can still do it. All right, here we go. Let's build some more and get this thing done. This is going to be the outer dimensions of this frame, using these angle magnets. These things are wonderful to keep everything square. And once I finish welding these, I'm going to take them over to the base frame. I didn't show building this base, but here's the sides. You'll notice that, again, I'm using these angle brackets, and I'm using a speed square I've probably measured 3 or 4 different times and checked the square several times. We're going to go ahead and do some pre-assembly now. This is before paint. I'm going to make sure that I get all my holes right, that I get the slides exactly where I want to place them. I could have put this on a drill press beforehand, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't have any variations or shifts, so it's just best to go ahead and do this with a hand drill. And again, I'm going to use these stainless steel screws, 1/4-inch screws with nylocks to hold everything in place. And I'll pre-assemble all the slides on this outer frame and get those working and operating just the way I want them to be able to work. I'll set this up now. I'm going to go ahead and kind of pre-test these slides and make sure that I don't have anything binding, and they're working exactly the way I want. And once I determine that I'm happy with that, then we'll start putting the center frame that will hold the generator on top. And I'm going to put some additional bracing in here. You'll see some cross bracing. You'll see these posts that I'm putting in. I had some extra tubing left over. I went ahead and took it out and painted it last night, and I've got all that done now. And this is the final assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and put the slides in and get those exactly where I want them to be and get them tight, again, with those nylock nuts and screws that are going on here. I'll go ahead and pre-test everything. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the slide tray, and I'll be showing you some more details on this slide tray as we go a little bit further. But we'll go ahead and get the individual screws and nylocks put on these as well. This only will take a couple minutes to get this done. And then once I get everything in and tight, and then I'm happy with that, then we'll start doing, again, some pre-testing here just to make sure I don't have to make any final adjustments. And the table's wiggling a little bit, so I had to use some knee action here. But once I'm happy that this is exactly the way I want it, we'll start doing some installation. I've got it finished. It paint's dry, everything is assembled, it looks great. I'll show you some of the function before I put it in the fifth wheel, because it's going to be sitting down kind of in that metal bucket in the front of the fifth wheel, and you won't be able to see the construction. I talked about over-engineering this. The more I added, I think the more comfortable I got that this thing is going to be very, very substantial to hold 100+ pounds of generator and handle the shock. So let me just take a moment here, and I'll just kind of do a pan with the camera and just kind of share the overall construction. Here's the overall construction. This is all 1-inch square steel tubing. I did not use aluminum. We talked about over-engineering and the bracing. I'm worried about shift going this way, back and forth, as well as forward to back, when you have to hit the brakes pretty hard. And so you'll see the side bracing that I put in here on both sides. It's impossible. It's going to be virtually impossible. There's no way that this is going to shift whatsoever with that bracing that's in there. And then just to give it some additional forward strength that you see here, I put also another post in here. I thought about going at an angle, but I think that that's going to be sufficient between that and the corner bracing. A couple other things that you'll see here. I wanted to protect the slides. Let me pull the slide out. You can see now what it looks like with the slide pulled out. Again, these are 500-pound weighted slides. I'm not too worried, at least at this stage, that that's going to be too much. Again, I'm putting, screws front, middle, back to keep any stress off that big metal pan. I'll put some big washers under there as well. You'll also notice that I put some angle iron here, if you can make that out, for the wheels to sit in so the wheels don't shift back and forth, as well as angle iron here to kind of protect these slides. I didn't want the generator to slide either way and possibly bend this up or damage those ball bearings inside there, so this will keep it in. Now, you'll also notice that I have these cleats. This is a marine product. You see a lot of these on boats. It's used for strapping things like sails or other goods down. So I bought these. They're stainless steel, heavy duty. You'll see once I get it on how I'm going to strap it. And I'm going to strap it both corners. I also put those cleats back here in the back as well, so you can see that. And it's not that heavy. I mean, again, it is steel, it's not aluminum, but it's not overly heavy, but I think structurally it's going to be super strong. Well, everything is built and done except for installation in that metal pan in the front of the fifth wheel. Now, that metal pan was designed to be able to hold a generator. As a matter of fact, if you look on some units like these Montanas, they'll have them. A lot of your toy haulers have them, those 5,500 watt Onans. This is only going to weigh a little over 100 pounds, so I'm well under the weight of what this is actually structured to be able to handle. Now, I am going to be putting this with bolts into the pan. I don't want to use sheet metal screws, those large sheet metal screws, like you see a lot of these things done. Again, I'm very, very concerned. I'm being overly cautious, I think, that if I ever slam on brakes, I don't want those threads to pull loose. So I'm going to use large 1/4 inch stainless steel screws with a big flat washer just to give it some extra strength so I don't have to worry about that. Hopefully never to be seen big event where I have to slam on brakes really, really hard, and this thing will stay in place. I'm not too concerned about that. And then we'll strap it in. You'll see the straps once that I'll be using those cleats that I installed. So this thing's going to be really secured and good and tight. So let's head out to the fifth wheel and get this installed. This is the last piece of the installation. I'm going to go ahead and place the frame inside the front of the fifth wheel here on that metal box. And I'll take a pencil here and put me some marks on where I'm going to drill the 6 holes to place this. And we'll get this drilled. This is actually nice thick steel. I'm pretty happy with that. And we'll get these individual holes drilled. We'll put the frame back in place. And again, we're using these 1/4 inch stainless steel screws and the nylock nuts. And I'm also putting an extra washer up underneath that pan just to make sure I don't have any pull through. I don't expect that I will, but again, it's just one of those safety factors. And a little bit of a contortion effort here to get these things tightened. And once I get all the individual screws tightened, then it'll be time to place the generator on top of this, and we will call the project done. We have everything installed. Turned out perfect. Let me show it to you. There it is. Worked perfect. On the big 500 pound slides. We've got plenty of space, plenty of strength here. Here, let me turn it on and just show you. It doesn't vibrate, it doesn't wiggle, it doesn't do anything like that. And it is literally that simple. Just that simple to be able to hook it up. I'm thrilled about this. This is going to be a perfect way to be able to carry this along. We'll have it for boondocking whenever we do that, or campgrounds lose power. I have got a portable generator now inside my fifth wheel. I couldn't be happier with the project. It took me 3 days, but not 3 days total. I think I probably have about 12 to 14 hours in building this. And I probably have about that much time drawing it out, redrawing it until I was happy with what I had. But it turned out really, really well. I think it's very, very stout. You can see, if you can see here from the side, I do have a little extension here to keep exhaust out. I'm just playing with this. I don't know if I'm going to leave this on here for now, but you can see it's very, very substantial, and it just, you know, stores with a snap. It's just literally that simple. Just pop, I'm done. And with it strapped in, I can go down the road. I don't have to worry about anything. So pretty thrilled about that. We've been hauling this thing around for a year, and we're always worried we're going to be somewhere where a campground loses power. We've had that happen for extended periods of time, and we've been wanting to do some boondocking. So this is going to be perfect with our solar setup that we have now, and then now with this generator for hotter climates. This is going to be perfect. This is just going to be absolutely perfect for us to be able to travel. I'm so thrilled about this. Some of you may say, well, look, Jerry, I don't have welding skills. I understand that. I think you could use extruded aluminum and build this system as well. You might want to go with the larger series, maybe a I don't know if a 40 series would be quite that requirement, but I wouldn't go with the small 10s. I would get something larger than that to be able to do something like this. There's some engineering guides that you can look to see how much weight. Do realize when you pull that generator out, you've got 100 pounds of dead weight that's going to be hanging out here, so it does need to be a little bit more substantial. I think extruded aluminum would be a great project. I considered doing that, knowing that a lot of folks would not know how to weld. But my cost was about 3 times as much. It was getting $700 by the time I bought all the things that I needed. And I just didn't want to put that much into it. Again, I've got a welding skill here that I can utilize. I'm so tickled to get this done. Again, I've put this project off for a solid year. Well, I thought about giving you diagrams of how I could do this, and then I realized no two generator manufacturers or no two generator models are alike. I think I'll just use this as a concept for you to follow. If you have questions and you want to get into some details, for those of you who want to tackle something like this, go out to ilovervlife.com and go to the contact page and just shoot me an email. And if I can answer some questions for you as you're considering this, I hope this video has several years of life to it. So don't worry about the date that you see when this was created. I'll be glad to answer any types of questions that you may have. I love doing projects like this. This is really, really fun. It was great to get the welder out. I haven't used it in a while, and do this kind of a thing. This was really, really fun for me. And I do this just to show you the types of things that you can do with your RV. You don't always have to follow what everybody else does. You don't have to go out and try to find a solution. You can make it yourself. Or if you know what you know, you may be able to find someone who has those skills who can make it for you if you have the concept or the idea. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I love doing this. Yep, and I love RV life too.